Welcome back to DJ's on the Block, where we talk NFTs, blockchain, and Web3, and a whole bunch more. Today we have different topics today, and we're going to have Manuel start us off with our first topic.
All right. Greetings, folks. Happy Arbor Day. Do you guys know that today is Arbor Day? And so that's one of the topics I wanted to bring up. It's one of the few professions that actually...
Near and dear to your heart.
Well, it is because, you know, as an arborist, having a national holiday, it's kind of unique because there's not many of them like out there. We don't have, you know, like Journalist Day, or unfortunately we don't have something like Teachers Day, which would be a bit more appropriate, I would think. But
I think every day is a Teacher's Day.
Well, you know, other than when we get to summertime. But yeah, so Arbor Day.
Yeah. So why don't we? We're going to put the 7 minutes on the clock because what we do is we try to keep it around 7 minutes, and we go through all our topics one at a time. And you got your Arbor Day hat on, don't you?
I mean, he's all decked out.
I do. I had to geek out. It's the day we have to do that. Not only that, but I have my Shade Tree Short Course, which is an event that for arborists that happens every year. Biggest one in the Midwest. And
wow, what kind of turnout do you get for that?
And
well, surprisingly, we had about a bit over 1,200 people.
Oh, wow!
This last time, yeah. So it was a
does
pretty
everybody
big event.
bring a little tree and start planting, or how does that work?
Well, you know, that'd be a lot of trees to plant.
That's right.
On that one
we need
spot.
them.
But
we need them.
no. This is more about exchanging ideas, latest technical information. So it's designed for arborists, enthusiasts, as well as practitioners. You know, that do it in everyday life. You know,
right.
Commercial arborists, utility arborists. We go through the whole gamut of them, and so the whole thing is related to the science of taking care of trees and getting them to grow. So
you know, I remember being a kid, always being affiliated with some program where we had to actually go and plant trees. I can't remember if it was for like a hockey fundraiser or baseball or a soccer, but definitely a fundraiser, and we'd sell spruce trees and go plant them for the people.
In a little Dixie cup.
Yeah, no, I think it was even in a bag.
Yeah. No, they still do those. Yeah, that what they'll do is they have a little bag.
Yeah.
That on the outside of the bag it tells you the species it is, and then some characteristics about it, and maybe what kind of landscape functions it performs or something like that, like attracting wildlife or
right.
fall color or something like that.
All right. Well, let's get into Arbor Day, and we can talk all about these things like that.
All right. Get the timer going.
I'll get my timer going.
I asked my kids today what they wanted to do to represent Arbor Day, and they wore green, so that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to be
getting double duty, the green and the wild.
Nice.
Ooh, very good.
Because the wild are still in it.
Yes.
Yeah. Big game tonight. So anyway, sorry.
Is it a home or away game?
I'm pretty sure it's a home game.
That's correct. Yes, it is a home game. Just remembered. But so the kids want to actually get a tree and plant it and kind of do a Mother's Day, Arbor Day kind of joint effort. So kind of cool. So to the Burns girls.
Very nice. All right. Very nice.
How about you guys?
Tell us how you're going to spend your Arbor Day or what, tell us about Arbor Day. I don't even know what the origins of it are.
Well, I think it was J. Sterling Morton that he set it up as the first one. And I think a lot of the intent, because he was living out in Nebraska out in those times, and that was during the Dust Bowl days. And so there was a big push to plant shelter belts, along and around different fields to try to disrupt, the wind movement of all the topsoil that was getting kind of blown away and kind of ruining our bread baskets, basically, that were there. And
sure.
So he led a big push with that, and it got adopted on a national level. And since people moved to cities, so now it's become kind of more of an urban forestry type of a thing.
Sure.
Because that's where probably the biggest need is for trees, when we have all the gray infrastructure that retains heat and moves water away very quickly and doesn't let it percolate through. That's the type of thing that having trees around there would help mitigate some of those things.
Sure. When was the first one celebrated for Arbor Day?
Boy, I wish I could tell you. I don't know exactly when that was. So that's no, but I know that that I think this has been going on since the late 1800s, where we've been talking about
That's a long time.
doing the plantings and such. So
Yeah. And what are you doing to celebrate Arbor Day? Do you have a cake or anything, or is there?
yeah, well, that would be good, but maybe there will be cake. No, I'm going to be later on at an event for for a local municipality over here that they're having an Arbor Day celebration, and I'm going to be there, and we're going to talk about some of the things that are important to that community, related to there's some insects that are having a go at trees there, the emerald ash borer, and so that's kind of a big topic.
Has to be.
And then there's still old topics like that are still prevalent and still a problem in cities, with Dutch elm disease and oak wilt.
I heard a lot of schools and organizations and communities kind of get together on Arbor Day and plant trees. Are you affiliated with any of those organizations?
Well, no. At this point, no, not. What I'm doing is like I say, working with a couple of cities, because we have another Arbor Day event for a different city in not this weekend but next weekend, and it's more to kind of help inform the residents about what they can do to kind of help maintain, because it's great to plant trees, but once you plant them, there's still some care that needs to be done with them.
But you can't care without planting.
Well, it's got to start someplace. They're right about
chicken
that.
or the egg.
How long are you supposed to
have an
keep
egg.
those like white sheaths on the trunks? Because you see people, they plant it, and like 6 years later, they'd still they haven't touched it.
They should move them once the trees start to get big enough that it's starting to move them out. It's time to take them off. Depending on the type of plant you have there, you may have to put another one back on, because when in areas that out in the suburbs where you have a lot of deer hanging around during the fall time, the males come out and they rub up against those new trees that were planted on their nice thin bark and stuff, and they can ruin a lot of.
Have you
trees
seen
that
how
way, so
bad? I
that's
think,
what you use them for.
In the suburbs, where we don't really have many deer, all the bark, like 3 feet up, is all gone.
Yeah.
on all the shrubs, all that stuff. Because
Birch trees too.
Yep.
Birch trees.
Because the rabbits.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The rabbits, because we were blessed with having a huge amount of snow
It was
this
a
winter.
great winter, I think.
So we're not the only country that celebrates Arbor Day. I mean, there's several countries, right? We got Australia, Canada, Germany, a few others.
No, a lot of different countries have other types of celebrations related to that. They may not necessarily call them Arbor Day. Some of them do.
Yeah, they do.
Some of them do. But
definitely.
some other ones, they kind of conglomerated in with an Earth Day type
right.
of an event, and they use the plantings as more of a...
Yeah, a lot of them do plant trees.
So
Celebrate.
That's good stuff. So then part of what we're doing also too at that event is we're giving away trees, not just some seedlings, but some bigger ones. They're in a pot about 1 inch in diameter, 6-7 foot tall. So it's actually a proper tree to go ahead and give you a little something there. So
Well, my kids, like I said, we're going to go get a tree for Mother's Day, so might meet you at the parking lot. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
What are you getting?
Woo! I don't know. Let's find out. What do we have?
Well, I think that they had 5 different varieties, and there are going to be some oaks in there, and 1 or 2 flowering trees as well. And I don't know if they picked an evergreen this year or not, but
Well, those flower trees.
yeah, if that's what you want.
Yeah, I'd love one.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Hey, guys, that's it for Arbor Day. DJ's on the block here, coming at you. See you soon.
All right. Welcome back to DGens on the Block, a podcast for AI, crypto, NFTs, blockchain, and some random topics here and there. We're back with David and Manuel. Todd is absent today, doing something else besides hanging with his buddies.
Furthering his education.
Furthering it. But that's what we're doing, too.
Yes.
We are furthering our education.
Happy to do it, too.
Yeah. So along this pathway, we're going to go into. We've been talking a lot about AI lately.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a hot topic, and recently I got into some conversations with some people that were concerned about how biased AI is going to be, or something like that. So I thought it'd be a good topic. Just let's bring that up and just kind of kick that around and see what's going on. So I'm going to start the clock.
All right.
The 7-minute clock. We're going to talk about this for 7 minutes. There's
Very good. It's a good topic. It's a good topic because, there is a worry about that, isn't there? We're worried about AI kind of, going off the tracks and stuff. But right off the bat, with the programmers, is there inherent, kind of bias based on either A, how they set it up, or B, the inputs that they give it,
That's
right?
exactly right. I mean, AI is learning from the largest databases, right, and gathering all this information. But if it's being trained, right, because that's what we're doing, we're training AI to come up with this theory. If it's already being trained in a database that's biased, it's going to only know that, so it's going to be biased. So I think that's kind of where we're at, because, like you said, someone has to put the information in.
Yeah, and you kind of feel like it's pulling from the entire web, so it would be unbiased. Like it kind of caught me a little bit by surprise, when they started talking about this, because you kind of think of, well, it's just pulling from all internet, but it's not entirely. Like you said, David, AI has to be trained, so the inputs that you give it help to feed what comes out of it. Help to dictate. So it's kind of an interesting thing. The link that I clicked on took me to some Fox, news thing. So you can figure where that was. It was a lot of arm tossing and stuff like that, and talking about the radical left, taking over the web. So, but that's kind of what kind of had me thinking about it. But I don't know. I don't know how to combat that, or if it's something that will average out over time.
Right.
Because the idea with this stuff is it's AI is continually learning.
Well, AI systems use algorithms, right? And they use algorithms to make models and basically make decisions. So if it's, again, learning from one area, and it's supposed to be pulling, like you said, from everywhere to come up with this common ground, but a lot of it's biased just because of where the information is being pulled from.
But I question, when it comes to the bias, because again, I see it as being, you can come at it from, or it can come from two main origins, I would think. One of them, again, is at the programming level. So if you're saying only look for this type of a thing, but at the same time, it could also be at, you could program it to when you give it the inputs, if you're not telling it to go look for anything, just to kind of start it out, which I think is part of what you were kind of getting at too.
Right.
So the initial kind of model, before you let it go out and explore and grab data from different places, you condition it by giving only a certain set of inputs, and so that's how it's going to start evolving and kind of learning from there, from that set of inputs.
But you have to rely on the people that are giving that information. AI is designed by humans. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if the human is wanting a bias AI tool,
sure,
it can absolutely do that. And that's what I think you're getting at, maybe, is that being done? Absolutely. All over it's being done, on all fronts. That's why everyone's kind of holding on and saying, what's going to happen here in the near future? Where are we getting our information and our facts from?
But to your point there again, too, over time, if they're learning, and depending on how, and if you programmed it to learn and maximize as what you're supposed to be learning about, maximize a certain topic, your knowledge about it, so you can deliver this type of output, this type of info to us. So ideally, as it's learning, even though you maybe gave it some kind of biased inputs, if the programming is correct right off the bat, and that allows it to kind of learn without constraints, then ideally it should kind of even itself out to be something that is a little bit more kind of the medium versus one of the outsides of the bell curve.
Yeah, I think the difficulty is that people, especially when it's making its way into search engines. I mean, it's making its way into a lot of things. So you take that search things or facts. If you're in ChatGPT and you're like, hey, what's the deal with this? And it gives you information, you kind of take that as fact. So
Absolutely.
I think that's, you have to always question some stuff, but I don't know if that's going to end up leading to, two sides, two, polar opposite type
I
of
think
things.
it can be. Again, it's all designed by humans. Who are the people actually doing the design of AI? And when you have that, there's going to be bias depending on the people that are designing that system, putting in that information, what it needs to find or what it should find or how it should react or how it should reply. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I think, making sure, all different groups are represented, because if...
Well, that's fair.
Right. So you have to try to make sure whatever, it's like news. I mean, really, it's like you're trying, you want
Right.
your news to be just facts.
Yep.
And
That's
not
why people go to
skewed.
Fox.
That's why you go to Fox. So that's what concerns me about, like, are you going to end up having, a left and a right, instead of a center?
Yeah, yeah.
Because everything in the world seems to have gone
And that's
left
no
and
cut
right.
on Fox. I could have said CNN. Well, I think that's another topic.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think I like this
Yeah.
one.
Well,
Yeah.
to me, to kind of this whole thing, the problem, one of the things that you mentioned there, Glenn, that I see related to this is that people would start to rely, if AI becomes, what our search engine gives us, so then we rely on it as like fact, whereas to your point, David,
Yeah.
if it hasn't been designed to find fact, but more designed to kind of find a certain subset of
Yes.
a fact, an alternative fact, as you might want to call it,
Right.
then that would be a problem.
Yeah.
And so
Well, I mean,
having to
look-
rely
yeah.
on that is a scary thing that people will be relying on that type of thing as fact for the future. So
Well, there's some countries like that.
Now, according to ChatGPT, it says, it is important to note that AI itself is not inherently biased, but rather it is the result of the biases that may exist in the data and algorithms used to develop it
So,
So-
by humans.
by
so,
humans.
But that statement in itself, the algorithm is part of what makes what it is.
Right, but-
And so if the bias is in there, you can't say it isn't biased because it is.
Well, you can have a neutral algorithm, but
But it's
if
saying the algorithms are what's not, are what is biased.
Yeah. So it's the inputs. So whether that's the data set and algorithm.
It's the data set. Yeah. It's both.
Yeah.
So, did we get somewhere?
Yeah.
Well,
we
I think
brought
we-
up more questions, and I think we're a little bit further ahead in our knowledge.
Yeah.
I think if you didn't think about it before, like I hadn't thought about AI being biased or the results being biased, because you think that it's a wide net that it's casting and it's pulling in, but if it's filtering what it's pulling in some ways, then it's going to be biased. So
I always thought so.
So just like with any
Okay.
kind of a thing, if you're trying to find out the facts behind it, maybe check multiple sources and see
Yeah.
if they all coincide. And if they're all
Yeah.
reputable and they coincide, then maybe you're at something.
well, and that's something for students or anything who take ChatGPT or any of the AI search to make sure you're not just
Pulling from one side.
copying and pasting and
Yeah.
not checking the facts.
So
Right. No, that's true. That's a good point.
well, I think that AI is going to be a topic that is going to come up again in the future here on this podcast. 'Cause
Hot topic.
It's certainly something that we've been covering a lot, and because as we mentioned in other podcasts before too, it seems like it's changing on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
there's every day, every week, there's news that are like, what is? Yeah, so pretty
Yeah.
exciting stuff.
Great
So
topic. Great topic.
We'll be coming back to it. So see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome back to DGens on the Block. I'm Manuel here with David, Glenn, and Sans. Todd, unfortunately, is not able to be here with us today. But another topic that we wanted to discuss today is why do we do what we do? David, what do you think? Why do
Well-
you do what you do?
Regarding just
Yes,
life in general. Well, we have a timer here, so we're going to put it on, and we have about 6 minutes and 53 seconds to talk about what gets us excited. Why do we get up? Why do we do what we do? For myself, different chapters of your life, right? In the beginning, it was because you're excited, you're young, you want to get out there, you don't want to miss life. Now it's because, well, I love what I do. Like this morning, I looked at my watch at 7:30, and I was like, well, time to get up. I'm excited to go do this podcast. I'm very fortunate to do what I do because there's a lot of people that aren't in the same boat right now. They're working a 9-to-5 job, or they don't like the career they're in, and they're busting their butts to bring in a paycheck, and they're missing out on things that perhaps would excite them more, or be with their family more, or doing a podcast, or running their own business, or so I do what I do because I love it, and I'm lucky enough to be able to get up every morning and look at it like I'm very thankful.
So what about this podcast? Just
Yeah.
kind of in particular, kind of, narrow that down a little bit, that focus to this one.
He wants you to tell him that you love what you do because Manuel's here. He's looking for.
that's what I'm
in
looking
case you
for,
couldn't
some
tell, he was
validation.
fishing for a compliment.
Yeah, no, that's half of it right there. Well, here's the thing. I mean, you can love what you're doing, but you don't necessarily have to love the people that you're doing it with.
Ow. Jeez.
So that's the transition.
And here's the David Show.
No, but that's the transition. I choose to be here just like you guys, and I love you guys like brothers. And it's so much fun to be able to do something that we think is productive and what we think is going to bring in some viewers. And but it's not about the viewers. It's not about the attention. It's about just being here with their brothers and kind of just doing something different that no one else is doing. Not a lot of people are doing this.
I mean, I think it depends for me, and I'm not even just talking about this. I think it's, I've got, I do photography, I do, design and advertising, I do, video, different kind of like social videos, and like there's all these.
You're busy.
I do, family stuff.
Yep.
There's all these parts, and you do it because you love what you're doing. I mean, there's some that you do because it pays the bills.
Right.
This does not pay the bills.
No,
So
and we spend a lot of time doing it.
we spend a lot of time
not
doing
paying
it.
the bills.
Yeah, and I that comes up once in a while.
Not with me.
No. So, but it's, I mean, we do it because we have a passion for something. So I think no matter anything
Yes.
I do, I try to find, it's a creative outlook. It's something to get your dopamine,
Yes.
fix, or
Be creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's a lot of fun, and I think it's always changing.
Right.
I love the fact that that David was so excited to be here. He was the first one to go like, yeah, we're going at 8:30, and I have no idea what I'm walking into every time we come here on Friday.
Yes. Kind of like myself. I'm surprised too.
Yeah,